couple of years ago, we launched this program, Gambling's Not a Game. And effectively, underlying the program were these kind of objectives. We focused on two settings, sporting clubs and schools, because that's where kids are. So the sporting clubs program is designed to engage with clubs, and these are clubs at all levels, in really getting them to understand their responsibility as a sporting club. Now, sporting clubs will bang on about we're community focused, blah, blah, blah. Well, our point was, well, you have a social responsibility. If any activity you do is harming kids, then you're really going against all the ethos of clubs that you've ever been set up for. So we really appealed to their sense of social responsibility. The fundamental objective of our sporting clubs program is to detach gambling from sport and to have a very distinct separation between gambling activities and any promotion of gambling activities and the sport itself. So it had these fundamental principles, and underpinning that was we were at education sessions for senior players and junior clubs, because the other thing we know is that particularly elite sporting people, they are high-risk gamblers. And, you know, any of you who's been involved in sports and sporting clubs, they gamble, and it's entrenched in their culture. So we run education sessions for the players, we engage senior players as mentors, and we run forums and really try and educate the players as well as give them resources. And we have, underpinning this program, is a responsible gambling charter that the club has to sign up to. Now, any club that wants to get involved with us has to sign up to this charter. The charter effectively does a number of things. First of all, it prevents them from having a sponsor, a betting company as a sponsor. So anyone that signs this charter cannot have a partnership with Crown or Bet365 or anything like that. It prevents them from doing that, even though that's legal. How am I going? 10 minutes, right. Even though that's legal. So that's the first thing it does. It kind of stops them from doing that. The other part of this charter is, if the club has a betting venue, if they own pokies, then our role will be to go in there, assess that venue, and make sure it's run to the highest possible standards. So we've developed a venue best practice guide. This best practice guide lifts the bar. So rather than just clubs meeting and complying with the law, we lift the bar to say, well, if you want to be part of this charter, your venue standards have to be up here, which include training of staff and signage and a range of different things. So it at least allows us to go in there and make sure that if a club is going to have gambling activities, those activities are run to the highest possible standards, and that's what this charter has aimed to do. In terms of, that's the charter there. I won't go into it. I'm happy to. I think this presentation will be made available, I'm assuming. Yeah, you can have a read of it. But there's a number of things. You know, how do I do fundraising? Don't do fundraising in a pokies venue. You know, with kids around and those sort. You know, the annual dinners. Usually, the local pokies venue will sponsor them to come and do your best and fairest award right in our venue. And you know, they're the sort of things we prevent the club from doing. In terms of the success we've had, well, look, it has absolutely blown us away. So last year in October, we signed up, at that point it was 6 AFL clubs, so St Kilda, Collingwood, Hawthorn, North Melbourne, these are the elite sporting clubs. Melbourne Victory, there's a picture of our minister. Our minister loves this program, by the way. Since then, we've signed up Big Bash, so the Melbourne Stars and Renegades. I can tell you confidentially that we will sign up 9 of the 10 AFL clubs within the next couple of months, and we hope that by the in Victoria, and we hope that by the end of the year we'll get all of them. And these are clubs that have walked away from significant sponsorships. So sponsorships with an AFL club. Remember the kind of centre bet and on the ball and everything. Those sponsorships range from around $150,000 a year to up to $750,000 a year. So it's significant money that these clubs are walking away from, and we've been able to engage with them and say, look, you have a moral obligation. Now, we may use that club for our own commercial benefit. So there's a little bit of a carrot. Okay, I won't necessarily say there isn't. We partner with them in a commercial way because we want to get to their membership as well. So we might use activations on the ground. Sometimes they'll name a match after us. We engage their mentors. We have senior players that make videos. And it's a really mutual arrangement. But we will not enter into any commercial arrangement with a club that has not signed our charter. So we've set the line in the sand, and we've been just floored with the amount of response that we've had. So it's been really exciting. So we've got 162 clubs signed up in Victoria, including, as I said, some very elite sporting clubs. It really has gone nuts. As you can see, we run education sessions and all the rest of it. So the second part of this is an education in schools program. I know that a couple of people were talking about the need to educate kids. We've been trying to do this for the last couple of years. Education in schools, for anyone who's ever been involved in any kind of health-related promotion, is really, really challenging. It's sensitive. There'll be all sorts of criticisms about it. There's not a lot of good evaluation data, all that. We know all that. But we felt we had to do something. Okay? We felt that we need to be in schools. We need to be getting the message into schools early and not hope that it's not happening, because kids are absolutely being bombarded. So the aims are we arm students with the knowledge, we assist teachers, and we educate school communities very quickly. So we run professional development sessions for teachers. So we will have a range of sessional materials. So I think at the moment we've got about 6 different lesson plans, either in maths or humanities subject, that teachers can run. So we will train them how to use that and run it. We also have parent information sessions that we run. So we try and tap into their local parent meeting and the like, and then have one of our people go in there, talk about gambling with parents. And we've got a whole range of online resources for parents, including a video made by parents about gambling. And they're really connecting with that. We've had thousands of downloads of that as well. And we also obviously run student information sessions for kids. Now, so where we're at so far, we're up to about 91 schools. We've been exposed to about 8,500 kids so far, 521 parents, and 329 teachers over the last couple of years. So where we're at with that now is that we are about to, we've finished the second year of kind of development. We're going to the market this year with a revised program, and then at the end of that year do a full-on evaluation. This is the happy sheets. Look, you know, we can be critical of these, but generally the feedback is really positive from the kids. We don't know if it's sustainable, I'll be honest with you. Unless you do kind of a long-term, longitudinal evaluation, it's going to be very, very hard to determine how sustainable that is. But the initial signs are really, really promising. And that's it. So, you know, we're really excited. It really is about disentangling gambling from sport, and that's essentially where we're coming from. We've used a public health model. We're targeting settings. We're doing lots of education and really trying to engage high-profile sporting personalities to support us on this. Now, no one's asked any questions, probably because I've been rambling on, but if there's any questions, I'm happy to take them now. Yeah. Well, there are two things. So the AFL is comprised of clubs and the peak body. Okay, the peak body doesn't give a shit, right? They earn a lot of money from gambling. They partnered with a range of different betting companies. You know, that's very entrenched in their model. We've tried to have discussions with them. Very hard to get in there, right? But we will now have, essentially by the end of the year, 10 AFL clubs who are saying, you know what, we're walking away from sponsorship. And, you know, that's going to send a loud message to the AFL. Once I've got all of them, I'm going to try and arrange another meeting with the AFL. Now, the issue about other gambling activities, I've got to know now all the CEOs of the AFL clubs. Every one of them, and I honestly believe them, if they had a choice to walk away from pokies venues, they would. Simply because it's complex, their members don't like it, there's a conflict of interest. But the reality is if they did, they'd go broke. So some have a 5-year strategy to diversify the income. But look, that horse is bolted. It's really entrenched in the sport. Good question, though.
I wonder about the other sponsors, like Toyota, for example, their own huge brand.
Well, not anymore. They're getting out of Australia, so maybe that's not a good example.
But obviously,
Yeah.
people who sponsor football, like and other codes,
Yeah.
don't necessarily want to be
Yeah.
associated.
Yeah. Look, I think gambling is lazy money. The reality is it's a growth industry, the online gambling industry. It's a new market. There's a lot of competition for market share. So you've got some very aggressive advertising budgets that companies like Toyota and all this probably wouldn't put their hands in their pocket. So the mature markets, the mature brands aren't going to spend, I think the William Hill sponsorship was $2 million for a 10-day event. Huge amount of money. Really competitive. You've got some big global brands, Paddy Power and the like, coming in. They've bought, a lot of our local companies, a lot of muscle there.